All right, so now we're doing the deal segment here. Justin's back. We're going to talk about a deal that he's actually bought. So this is outside of anything we've done within the Aligned Real Estate Partners business, and this is Justin personally investing. And we're going to run through the backstory on what I believe is a 3-unit in Manchester.
Yep.
But let's just start with question 1 here. Can you describe the property? Stepped on it a little bit, but size, kind of like the physical attributes of it, market, neighborhood. Basically, talk about like the real estate itself.
Mm-hmm. So this was my first deal. Bought it probably towards the end of the first year I joined the business. And
like late 23, right?
Yep. So it's a 3-unit property in Manchester, New Hampshire. It is on the west side. And for people who know Manchester, it's a little bit nicer neighborhood relatively to the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. High level. The units themselves, there was like a couple small ones, a big one, right? Something like that?
Yep. So there was a 3-bedroom unit and then 2 1-beds. That 3-bedroom unit, we actually were able to make it into a 4-bedroom unit now. So that was a big plus. But yeah, 2 1s and a 3.
Nice. And how did you find it?
That was just a cold call. Just your standard cold call. This guy owned it for a couple years with his wife, and I think he had another kid on the way, and they were looking to get out, didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Nice. Was this the older prototype? I remember it was like a younger guy, right?
Yeah, it was a younger guy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was just like they lived there, they were moving out, kind of
yeah,
time
they
to
just
call
didn't
it a
have
day.
the time to deal with it anymore.
Nice. What price did you pay for it?
So I paid it was $500,000, which at the time was, I want to say, a $50,000-ish discount to market.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like at that time, late 23, like it would have been like a mid-5s if a broker listed it type of thing. Yep. And then how did you capitalize it? Like how did the whole deal get structured?
It was just standard conventional lending, 75% LTV. Nothing too crazy.
Who was it like a local bank or?
Yeah.
Yep.
Newburyport Bank.
Yep. Gotcha. Business plan. What did you do to it after you closed? Like management company? What was the objective there?
All the units were actually in really good condition, I would say. They didn't need much. So day one when I got in there, I pretty much actually all three units turned over. So when they did turn over within the first couple months or so, it was super light, just cleaning, paint. I think I switched out some of the appliances, but it was really just a very, very light value add.
Yep. And management-wise, like management company, self-management?
Yeah, and I think some people would probably disagree on this, that you need a management company for a 3-unit building because it's obviously a pretty small and easy thing to take on. But I am not at the position where I live down in Boston. This is an hour away in New Hampshire.
Yep.
Didn't want to have to go up there when a toilet breaks or try to figure that out. And mostly I figured my time is better spent finding more deals than fixing more toilets. So I'll spend the money for someone to manage it.
Yeah, even if you self-manage, that first, I remember so vividly, like that first 1-hour ride in longer than that, 90-minute ride in rush hour traffic up to New Hampshire to meet the carpet guy on a Wednesday night will very quickly radicalize you into...
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so what went better than expected post-closing?
What went better is as I touched on, all 3 units did turn over, but luckily I have a good management company who were able to quickly clean the units, paint them and everything, and then get them released as soon as possible. So that was good because I was not expecting all 3 units to turn over, and that was obviously a little bit stressful at the time.
Yeah, and how did it go from like a rent standpoint? You get like same, less, kind of around what you thought you would?
Same, if not a little bit more.
Okay, so that's good.
Yep.
What went worse than expected after you closed?
What went worse than expected, and really nothing bad happened, I would say. But what wasn't ideal was I think I spent a little bit more dollars in CapEx turning some of the units, and there was some knob and tube in the basement, which obviously you don't want that these days, and that was a little more expensive. Had a oil tank that the oil company wouldn't fill because it was too old. Had to replace that, which was not ideal.
Yep.
But still, I mean, those are just kind of small things, and you expect those anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those things where even when a unit looks quote unquote nicer when you walk it, like when a tenant's living there, it's like you don't really know the condition until all the stuff's out. Yeah. And then you look at all the walls and you're like, oh, the walls looked nice when they were living here, but I have to paint them all now.
There's all these dents in the walls.
Yeah, it's like it's just like it's never going to be as easy to renovate units as you think when you initially walk a property, which is just unfortunately like a lesson that a lot of people learn over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like you're probably, and we joke in the business, it's like in the management company rather, like you're just going to have to paint it like every time. Like that's just kind of the mental approach you take. It's like maybe you can get away with painting a room, but specifically with like C-class real estate, like older buildings, you're probably going to spend $3,000 to $5,000 every single time you turn it over, no matter how nice it looks the first time you walk it. And it's a hard thing to like really underwrite and be that disciplined about at the end of the day. What was the end result? You refi it, you sell it, anything else?
End result was I did just do a refinance beginning of this year and pulled out, I want to say about half my equity, and then rolled that into another 7-unit deal that we actually just closed on together. So pretty good outcome, I'd say. It was ideal.
Was the refi with same bank, different bank? Like how did you approach the whole refinance process?
Yep, exact same bank. It appraised for $650, which was good. I'd say that was a win. So same bank, pretty simple process. Didn't have to pay any, prepay fees or anything like that. It was just, pretty straightforward.
I always like to ask this to somebody who goes to a refi like the first time, like any assumptions that you had about that process before you entered it that turned out to maybe be different than what you assumed, like in terms of how it would go? Like yeah.
I think it's a lot more intimidating than it actually is. It's super simple.
Yeah, it is at the end of the day,
when
especially with a local bank where they already know the property.
Yeah, but when you haven't done one and you just think, oh, I don't even know how to do this. I don't know how to go about this. But they pretty much just walk you through the whole thing, and you share a rent roll, some expenses, your tax returns, and pretty much good to go. Answer a couple questions, and,
there it is.
And that's it.
What was your biggest lesson or takeaway from this deal? I mean, could be positive, could be negative.
Biggest lesson was, I'd say your first deal, and you mentioned this a lot, it doesn't need to be a home run. I wouldn't consider this deal a home run at all, but it was a good deal and got me from point A to point B. It just got my feet wet. So if you're looking to get in and buy your first property, you just need to do it. Obviously, you need to make sure the numbers work, but it doesn't need to be this crazy good deal. It just has to be a deal that works, so you get comfortable, you get confident, and then you can do your second one and your third one and just keep going. Yeah,
I mean, it's like another way to think about it is like you want to just raise the floor of what the bad outcome could be. It's like, and this deal is a good example where it's like wasn't a ton of moving parts. There's plenty of comps to look at to be like, what does a 3-unit in this neighborhood on the west side of Manchester sell for? So you got plenty of comps to feel comfortable about the price you're paying. Like pretty straightforward unit renovations, like, we know what they're going to rent for. Like there's just not a lot of moving parts there.
Yeah.
Inverse situation would be like property and like a market that's kind of a little bit more remote and the units are really rough and you're going to spend a ton of money on construction. Like there's a lot of ways a deal like that could go wrong. And the whole thing on the first one is like you just want to raise the floor so that even if you make some mistakes, you're not making like terminal career-ending mistakes as it relates to like even just getting your business off the ground. Something that people are going to hear, I think, when they listen to this is like you're a young guy. You bought this 3 years ago when you were, an even younger guy. I think people have like just a general assumption that it's hard to get financing or it's like hard to get a loan to go and buy a place if you're younger. I mean, maybe quick 2 cents on like that process. Like, did you run into any challenges with getting it done? Like, did you have that assumption and you, similar to, when you refinanced it, like disprove that assumption pretty quickly? Talk about like at closing, when you did close it, like you're a guy in your early 20s, was that an issue?
Yeah, no, luckily for me, it was not an issue. But yeah, I mean, I know I see everyone preaches online, you can buy real estate $0 down. And that's very dependent on the deal. But it's something like this where it's, kind of a stabilized asset for the most part. It's pretty much always going to be 20, 25% LTV. So I would say you do need to have that ready to go. And if you don't, you could go the alternative lending route and I could put less down. But it's just a totally different business plan. And I wasn't looking to do that for my first deal. Yeah. I just wanted to get confident. And now I can buy a hairier deal with alternate lending and execute on that.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. And I think the challenges that folks are going to have on deal one is if you try to go like conventional Fannie Mae 30-year fixed rate financing, like then you're going to be into the, W-2s and the pay stubs and the tax returns and like all that stuff. Whereas if you're just going to go to a local bank or a local credit union and get a commercial loan, it's always going to be deal first from an underwriting standpoint.
Yep.
Then they're going to go look at the borrower and be like, is this a competent individual who's got a decent credit score and who's like, has a job? Like they're just going to check some very simple boxes, but they're going to look at the collateral first, which is not what happens in the conventional 30-year financing world. So I think that's like the big distinction there. But this is great, man. So for everyone listening, show notes for Justin's info, go listen to the episode that we released on Tuesday before this goes up, where we talk all about acquisitions, direct-to-seller marketing and prospecting and all that fun stuff. But that's it, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.